Carl. Welcome back to another episode of
How are you, Lovie? Great to have you all listening in again for another week. We love having you here, listening, eavesdropping into our weekly catch-up.
That's literally what it is. Can I ask you a question?
What?
Is your arse clean this week?
That's not fair. Making it out to everyone like I go around like some sort of an absolute ape who can't, like, jeez. That is nothing. Sorry, no.
Like,
this is how rumors start.
You walked in today after being in work, and I was like, "What is he wearing?"
What was wrong with what I was wearing?
The colours did not go at all.
Sorry, I actually think they did. It was a wine and it was like a khaki green. And I thought they complemented each other nicely.
They really didn't. Anyway, we have to tidy up some bits from last week.
Yeah, okay. Well, number one was my homework.
Did you do your homework?
You'll be glad to hear.
You've cleaned your arse.
I did my homework. I did my homework, which was I had to set up an email address for us. Because in fairness, the only way people have been able to get in touch with us so far is I put up a couple of question boxes for the first couple of episodes on Instagram. And then people were leaving comments underneath the episodes on Spotify, which, by the way, we love people doing.
Yes. I've one to address tonight.
Okay, we'll get to them in a minute, but don't forget to subscribe, share, rate and review the podcast. But the big bit of feedback we got last week was there's not enough space to be able to send in a proper email.
So I'm intrigued as to what people need more space for.
Well, in fairness, if you want to like ask a question that requires a little bit of explanation or just even tell us a gas story you think is worth sharing on the podcast.
True.
I don't really know what's going to come in there.
Nothing at all.
We absolutely, we encourage it now. So our new email address.
Go on, tell me, because I haven't even heard this yet.
I can reveal. Our new email address.
Drum roll,
for
please.
The How Are You Lovie podcast is howareyoulovie@gmail.com.
Okay.
howareyoulovie@gmail.com. And it's spelt exactly as it is on the screen in front of you on whatever device you're listening to.
Perfect.
All right. How are ya, Y-A, and then Lovie spelt L-O-V-I-E. There you go.
Anyway, that's great. I'm intrigued to see what people need more length for.
Yeah.
I mean, for obvious reasons. Shut up, Carl.
That's so childish.
Head out of the gutter.
That's so childish. A couple of comments underneath last week's episode we need to get to.
I have one that I was just like, what is this? Mary McCourt.
Go on, Mary.
On Spotify. I'm going to skip the lads, your bloody tonics, what she said, right? Broke my shoulder while out for a walk and feeling very sorry for myself, as you would do. Lying here in bed, I'm laughing out loud. Mary.
Thank you. Lovely comment, by the way.
Fabulous comment. Thank you very much. Mary. How did you break your shoulder when you're walking?
See, this is why we need the email address.
I need
give more detail.
I need the detail.
Now,
so Carl said to me, did she fall? So Mary, I'm very sorry if you fell and you hurt yourself and you broke your shoulder, because a broken shoulder is hard.
Is it a bad one?
Well, it's a big L, it's hard.
Well, no, so can I give two stories?
The recovery is hard. Go on.
Can I give two stories in relation to this?
Go on.
Because do you remember when we were on, it was your leave and cert holiday back in 2007? And our friend...
because Carl was the year below us all in school.
Yeah, I don't know how my mum and dad let me go on that holiday with a load of 18-year-olds when I was only 17, going into sixth year.
They knew that we were a good group.
He's were, in fairness. Yeah, for the most part. But it was a great holiday. Yeah. But anyway, I don't know how I was allowed to go. I almost wasn't allowed into the country when the customs officers, they were like, where's your guardian? And I was like, them. And I pointed at all you. And your mum was just like, And he just was like, oh, whatever, go on. So when we were on that holiday, we spent every day in the pool. And there was one of our friends, I won't name her because I don't know whether she'd be embarrassed by it, but one of our friends dislocated her shoulder.
Oh, yes.
In the most innocent way possible. We were having a walking race in the pool. You know the way it's very, like there's a lot of resistance when you're walking in the water. So we were having a walking race and your feet are slipping and stuff and you're trying to grip on.
Yeah.
We were trying to walk in the pool and we got to the end and then we looked back and we were like, what's up with her? And she's there holding her shoulder and her shoulders popped out.
Can I ask, because obviously it was you and her, and who was the other person?
Another one of the lads, Joe.
Okay, so these are two big lads. So she had contraflow of water from both sides. Was she in the middle?
She was, yeah.
Yeah.
Was that what happened?
I would say this is a lot more.
I wouldn't. I'd say it was more wake off of me.
Yeah, exactly. God over. The Manny version of Carl on the 6th year holiday.
So that's one way you can injure yourself walking.
Yes.
The other one, this is a mad one. So I had a podcast that came out last year called Phone Truths.
Yes.
And I got a message from someone who was listening to the episode with myself and Dermot Whelan, right?
Okay.
This was a mad message to get. And they were like, "Hiya, Carl. I just want to message you to tell you something a bit mad that happened. I made it to the 38-minute mark in your episode with Dermot Whelan, and I haven't managed to get back to it. What happened was I was listening to the podcast, and at the 38-minute mark, I was hit by a car. They were walking as a pedestrian.
So they weren't watching where they were going?
And they were knocked down. I don't know what happened. I don't know whether it was like, someone breaking a light. I don't know. And I was just like, oh my God, are you okay?
See, this is the thing with people with headphones in their heads.
I know, well, it is, in fairness.
Yeah.
It can be, you sometimes don't know what's going on around you.
Are they okay?
They were okay.
Because they messaged you.
They did. They got a proper bang and they ended up in hospital. So
Right.
they were kind of messaging me to be like, I'm a bit shook, and they nearly needed to say it to me.
Yes.
Because they just were, maybe it was part of like the healing process of like, just, okay, I need to tell people that this is what happened.
I'd be intrigued to see, have they listened to you again, or are they like triggered by your voice?
If you're listening here to this podcast, how are you, Lovie? At
Email us.
gmail.com. There you go. We'd love to hear from you. And genuinely, for all of you listening now, if there's anything at all, whether it's feedback, it's a question, it's a story you want to tell,
I want to know if other people
cover.
have broken bones while doing something else.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, that could happen. All right, let's start it off, Ash. Busy week. How are you, Lovie? How are you getting on?
I'm really good this week. We had a lovely weekend. You were working at EP. I went down with you on Sunday. I got a Sunday pass. The kids were minded.
Yeah, Mum and Dad had the... we say the kids, they had Davy and Ayla.
Yeah, and we brought Baven with us to her first festival, which is pretty epic.
It was actually lovely, wasn't it? Like, we got her the ear defenders and the whole shebang.
Yeah, it was really nice. Now, I will say it was my first EP. So I've never been, because I think... like EP's running for 20 years now, and at the time I wouldn't have gone to the first few because I would have still, because Oxygen and EP were always running together, and I would have been at the Oxygen era. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And then I moved to London, and then moved home, babies. So this is my first EP to actually get to. My mother has been to
your
5.
mum's been to loads of them.
Yeah. So I think I only
your mum is definitely
dipped.
cooler than the two of us. She really is.
I dipped my toe in the water of EP this weekend, and I'd say I didn't get to see enough of it. To say that there's so much to do at it, I almost felt overwhelmed. I'm like, I need to spend a whole weekend to absorb it, and then that'll be next year, and then the following year after that, I'll know my way around as such.
Can I make another observation from Electric Picnic when I was walking around the place?
Go on.
I don't know what, like, I kind of feel at the moment, right? I'm really craving any sort of an experience that will reinstate my faith in humanity. I know this sounds like it's getting really deep, but it kind of is, right?
What are you saying? What are you saying?
Like, and I say this as someone I was sober the entire weekend. I didn't have anything to drink because I was working. You know what I mean?
And you were driving as well.
So yeah, I was completely within my senses when I was thinking this, when I was down there. But genuinely, like, we've talked about this before on the podcast, but it's so grim at the moment. And honestly, like, the media have a horn for bad news.
Yes.
They really do. They do at the moment.
It's such a horrible
and it's, you know what I mean? You're bombarded with it. You turn on the news, you turn on your phone, you turn on this. And of course, I know there's bad things happening around the world, but it just feels like there's very little balance.
Yes.
And sometimes when you go to a festival like that and you immerse yourself in it, and you just are surrounded. It was kind of the same feeling at Oasis.
Right.
When you're surrounded by people who are just joyous and who are enjoying themselves.
Yes.
And who are there to, like, celebrate each other's company and celebrate music and celebrate Irishness and just embracing the joy of life.
Yes.
It's actually a really cathartic thing to be part of.
Yeah, you love getting absorbed in that atmosphere.
I honestly just... At the weekend, I was like, do you know what? This is way more than just going and seeing a few bands playing. Like, this is actually good for the soul.
It's really good for the soul.
I know that sounds so deep, but I couldn't help but feel that over the weekend because it was a lovely crowd.
It was a lovely crowd. Do you know what I actually loved as well? Meeting, because when I first got in there, I met a good few of the new crowd from 2FM.
Yes.
Because you just finished work. And I loved that as well, because I would have known a lot of the other presenters over the years. But I really got to know and spend time with, like, Benny.
Yeah.
Love him. Mikey,
Yeah.
Demi. I've met Demi before, but they're just really a really good, nice crew. At one stage, I'm changing Bavine's nappy in. They had a tent out where all like kind of people had thrown their bags to keep them dry and everything. So I was changing Bavine's nappy just on my lap, and Tracy Clifford walked in, and she was like, "What the actual?" And I was like, well, just a normal day in your office, Tracy.
Face full of her.
No, in fairness,
dirt.
I had turned Bavine's bum to like the back of the tent, but she just couldn't stop laughing. And I was like, you know, that's what I love about your work crowd, Carl, is that they're all just, everyone's just so happy and just so joyous.
Right. Yeah.
And to me, it's like a big family.
Do you know
they're all like a big family, and I love it.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it. Because anytime they're like, oh, Ash, come on in. Like, and equally user like that with their other halves or their people. I love it.
You're so right. I've never thought about that, but actually,
it's a community in
very
there,
lucky.
and I love it. I think it's a very lucky. Anyway, what I will say is EP was such a contrast to my week last week and this week so far. Everything was free flowing in EP.
Yeah.
Whereas at home, I'm telling you, the rush hour has started. So this year, Davey, I've switched his Eki hours to the morning time.
Okay, for anyone who's not familiar with Eki hours, if you don't have kids, it's essentially...
so it's like play school hours. So you get like 3 hours free.
The government fund like 3 hours.
So off we go. You can get it in a morning slot or an afternoon slot, depending on where you are. Sometimes it's just a morning slot. Sometimes it's different hours. Whatever the hours are, it's 3 hours during the day.
I say the government fund. Your taxes fund.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody. So anyway, we were in the afternoon slot. This time round, I've changed him to the morning slot because I'm like, do you know what? He needs to get used to going to school.
Yeah, because he's going to school next year.
This is where we are now this year. Need I say that Carl would not be used to traffic because you go in so early?
Yeah.
I go through the Waterford, the Walkinstown roundabout twice before 8 o'clock, before 7:30.
Yeah.
When I'm dropping the kids off, when I'm in work. So we're never really in traffic.
Yeah.
So I'm now driving Davey up. I got up the first morning, but like, grand, get their breakfast, everything into them, and got up and left the house. And to say it took me half an hour to do a 5-minute drive.
What?
Yes. The following day it took me 40 minutes.
What?
So on Friday, yes, I left at 8:10 and I got there at 7:45.
So just for context, like lads, this
He's meant
is
to be in
probably
school at 8:30.
What is it in terms of distance? 2.5 kilometers, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Which is absolutely ridiculous. I can see how people go absolutely irate. The traffic is atrocious. We need to sort it out.
Well, and look, and I know there's going to be a load of you listening now who kind of, would have the other, well, maybe both ends of the spectrum in terms of like you have to contend with traffic, but you also have to contend with a long commute.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like there's some people, I often get asked like, God, what's it like getting up so early in the morning? And I'm like, it's grand
blissful.
for me. I get into work literally every single morning. No matter what happens, it takes me 13 minutes.
Yeah.
I know how long it's going to take. Whereas at the exact same time I'm going into work, I guarantee you there are thousands of people, probably some of you listening included, who are getting up and you have to hit the road so that you get to work on time and get a car parking spot.
But
you have to drive for 2 hours to get to where you need to be.
I have friends and colleagues as well that are driving up from the country to come in to work. So they are doing that commute.
And also, on top of that, I don't know if anyone else notices this, I just think the aggression on the roads at the moment is out of this world. Like, calm down. People driving up your ass.
Oh, I know.
Like, just calm down.
And that and roundabouts. People don't know how to use roundabouts. You look to your right.
I love how we started off like only a couple of minutes ago being like, isn't it just great to have your faith restored in humanity? And I'm like, people are a pain in the padded ass.
Okay, Carl, tell me, how are you, Lovie, this week?
Oh, well, look, listen, I had my big love in there after Electric Picnic. It was just a lovely couple of days. It really was. Early in the week, I was feeling a bit sorry for myself. I had to go and get bloods done.
Oh, the poor papa.
Oh, Ash.
Well, not that you had to get bloods done. Like, there's nothing wrong with you. I've just said, Carl, get your blood, so you need a screen, you need a check.
I do, but
maintenance,
also...
Maintenance.
I've been on this podcast pissing and moaning as well about, I'm so tired. I know. When did you left?
Well, you had got your bloods done prior to this and they were all fine. So it's just rechecking them.
Yeah, in fairness, and that's actually something I need to get better at.
It's maintenance.
Just doing the kind of regular checkup. So to go and get the bloods done, but I went in to our GP and Like they're really lovely in there. It's real kind of GP where you go in and they're like, "What's the crack?" and you have the chats with them, and they do this with everyone. You know what I mean? You feel made really welcome. But anyway, I went in and I hate needles. I hate
Carl
needles.
is desperate with needles. Yeah.
So I have a couple of needle stories that I need to tell you. So first of all, I tried to donate blood a few years ago.
Did you?
Yeah, twice I tried to donate blood. So there was a call out that they needed blood. And I was like, okay, actually, it's a good thing to do to donate blood. Yes. And by the way, don't let my story put you off donating blood because it's a really good thing to do.
It's essential.
So I'm O positive, which I think is a useful enough blood type to have. So anyway, went in to give the donation. I was a bit like, I'm not mad into this, but anyway, I'm grand. And I start giving the donation and you're sitting there and they just have you like squeezing on like a kind of a bone thing. And after about, I'd say 15 minutes, maybe it wasn't even that long, but I don't know if it's a nurse who's with you or there's someone anyway who's with you. And she was like, "Are you all right?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm grand." And she was like, "Oh, okay, right." Then about 20 seconds later, she's like, "You sure you're all right?" And as she said it, I was like, "I'm feeling a little bit sweaty." And literally, as it happened, as she said that.
Did you faint?
So you know the scene I think it's in Old School, where your man gets shot with the dart.
I've still never seen that movie.
Everything. I don't know if it's that. I think it is that movie, Frank the Tank. And he gets shot with the dart and everything slows down.
You fainted.
The dart, man. He's got a dart in his neck. That's what it felt like. Okay. Everything started to slow down. And my vision started to go.
Yeah, you fainted.
And I was like, oh no, here we go. Next thing I wake up. So the chair that you're in, I didn't realize this. The chairs, they can tilt backwards. So my legs are in the air.
Yeah.
I'm getting patted down with a wet towel.
Yes.
There's a big hullabaloo.
Yes.
All the other people who are giving a donation are looking at me. Like,
of course. Carl man just like something about himself.
Oh God, it was so embarrassing. And then afterwards,
but also you think too much about things. Like something, you get obsessive over it. So something is in your arm, you divert your attention away, and you're sitting there like, squeeze the ball while the blood's coming out, squeeze the ball. Oh my God, squeeze the ball. And you get so obsessive over it with the needle in your arm that you freeze.
Yeah, easy to say as someone who doesn't have a fear of needles.
Okay.
I
had a fear. I still have a fear of needles. I don't like giving them to myself. Or to anybody. No, like, you know, when I was pregnant or post-baby.
Yes.
I had my third baby. I had to give my own Clexane injections. But no, with them, I don't like giving injections to people either.
Yeah.
But like you have to, I don't like it. I do get clammy and sweaty doing it. I do not like doing it.
Oh.
But, and I have the fear.
Well, what was annoying that time was...
Go on, tell me.
They kind of were like, oh, did you eat enough? And I actually hadn't eaten anything that day. Well, then there you
go. Carl rarely eats.
Well, I eat at the wrong times. That's my problem. So they were like, look, do you know what? It was probably that you hadn't eaten. So about 6 months later, I was like, I'm going to give that another go.
Did you?
Another good thing to... Went to go again. Needle goes into the arm. And after about 5 minutes, I was like, shut it down. Blow it up, ref. We need to finish this. I can't do it.
And why
I knew
was
I was going to faint. I just knew I was. All of the same thing starts to happen again. So I was like, before I end up with my hole in the air in this chair, I think I'll gladly have you take the needle out. Thanks a million. But what was annoying was both times I hadn't given enough of a donation for it to be usable because they have anti-clotting agents in the bag. So the ratio was still too off. So they couldn't use it.
You should go do it again.
I don't want to just waste their time though.
But try it again and see.
Well, anyway, I was giving blood the other day and I was like, just so you know, not good with needles.
But that's what I'm like. So if I have to get a needle or I have to give blood, I always say, I'm a bit of a fainter, so let me lie back.
Oh no, I lay back. And then I was given the donation, but I started to feel sick. I started to feel faint. I started to get sweaty. And it was the exact same experience as we had when you were in labour. It was on Ayla. And I looked up at the wrong time when they were giving you the epidural.
We're not even, no. Our labour stories are going to be a whole...
Okay.
There'll probably be an episode for each one, let's be honest.
Okay, well, all I can say is the biggest needle I've ever seen in my life. Bang, on the deck.
You're desperate. Carl.
We'll go into it in more detail.
Carl in all my labours has managed to make my labours about him. There you go. Nothing new there.
So anyway, other than that, just a lovely week. And also, do you know what? I I like September. And do you know why I like September?
It's meant to be like a reset month.
Yes. Exactly that reason.
Yep.
And it's the same reason I like January.
Yeah.
I feel like there's 2 resets in the year.
Yeah.
Obviously January, and then September feels like a bit of a mini reset. And I actually like that. The fact that it hits September at the start of the week. I love that.
But I like going into September. I mean, like right between now and Christmas, or now we've got a holiday in November. But like there's never really much on.
Yeah.
Now we are busy till middle of September. But I'm like, right, from day dot of September, we need to do a clean sweep here. Okay, moving on to mulling it over. I'm going to go first with this, Carl. Me and my little rabbit holes, my train of thoughts this week, right?
Yeah.
I watched a documentary on RT1. It was called Emerald Nightingales. Something like that, was it? Emerald Nightingales it was.
Yeah.
And it's called Irish Nurses in the NHS. So effectively what it was is when the NHS was set up after World War II, there was a huge recruitment drive for nurses because all the healthcare had been opened up to all the public. So a lot more people were accessing it.
So the NHS is just the National Health Service in the UK.
Yeah. So there was a huge recruitment drive because once everyone started accessing this free healthcare, they realised they didn't have enough staff. So they recruited a huge amount of nurses from Ireland. And then by 5 years into the NHS being opened to everybody, 75% of that staff are Irish nurses, which is whopper. 3/4 of it is what they were saying.
Sorry, I did love this ad. 75! 75?
Yeah, so 3/4 of the staff was Irish nurses, which is amazing when you hear of that the Irish nurses effectively, that was the whole point of the programme. They're like, there's not enough recognition given from the NHS for what the Irish nurses did for the NHS.
It's crazy. And considering
it's amazing.
They've 10 times our population more.
Yeah. So it's amazing. So they're trying to give a bit of recognition to these nurses, and most of them have retired now. It just made me think, so the reason why, so when you listen to or watch the documentary, the reason why there was a huge exodus of these Irish nurses was because the system over here, they weren't getting great pay, conditions weren't great, and obviously the recruitment drive was like, we're going to give you good pay, conditions are fantastic, you'll learn loads. So off the Irish nurses went to set up a new life over in the UK. And it just got me thinking, I was like not much has changed really.
That's why you did.
Yeah, so that's what I did. I mean, I did get a job here, and I asked one of the directors of nursing at the time, and she was like, go, it's the best thing you'll ever do. She's like, go get your experience elsewhere. And to be honest, I do, if there's any of the newly qualified nurses, I say the exact same thing, because I feel like it was the best advice that was given to me, to go and get experience elsewhere. Because I feel like when you are qualified and you go straight into a job here, that's your job. And you may not get experience elsewhere. It doesn't open your eyes to different areas.
It's also as well, like some people just want to scratch the itch of living abroad and all that kind of.
Yeah. So whereas what she said to me was probably the best, because I probably would have been that person that would have stuck in a job here. Not stuck, as in started a job here and would have just continued in it.
I know, but do you know what the funny thing is? The alternative to that is like, that's kind of what we need and what we want. As in, like, you don't want people leaving the system. Because, like, at the end of the day, like we've all funded people through that. And, like, they're qualified to such a high level. So we want to retain them, but you have to make it worth their while.
You have to make it worth their while. And that's, I suppose, where there's a little bit of a disparity there. So when I was looking into it then, this is me going down my little rabbit holes. So there's no data kept in regards to how many nurses per year are leaving. So the only data that they capture is, and the only way they can capture the data of nurses that are trained in Ireland is you would have their first year registration, and then they can see, right, so many of them after they qualified, they had registration, and once you register, you also have to put where you're employed.
Yeah.
And then that drops significantly after year 2. So most of us, and the same with the medical professionals, doctors as well, that's the same trend. So you would have in your first year, yes, they're employed. And then after that, it drops off. So that's their way of potentially capturing the data
of who's gone,
of who's going. But they don't have an actual percentage. The percentage they do have is the amount of nurses. So Ireland is the highest number of bringing foreign trained nurses into the country. But in saying foreign trained, it doesn't mean international nurses. It also means girls that are Irish or lads that are Irish that have done nursing in other countries.
Okay.
So if you didn't get the points to do it here, some students would go across the UK to do nursing or go to Hungary to do nursing.
Yeah.
And get trained and qualified over there and then come back.
Okay.
So foreign trained means...
It could be,
It could be a mix.
And important to say as well, like the healthcare system would collapse without that support.
And that is the biggest thing. Like we need the nurses in the country. That's kind of it. So I do get what you're saying is in like, we need to find a way to not make them leave, and for me to turn around and tell them it's a bit cheeky to say go and leave. I think it's good for them to get experience elsewhere and bring that back. That's what I did, and I'm very fond of that I did that, and my friends who did that as well are very fond of the fact that you go, you get your experience and then come back. What the Central Statistics Office, the number that they have captured is that we are the highest percentage within Europe of foreign trained nurses within the country. And as you said, we would collapse off the back if we didn't have them, which is 100% true. Like I see it in work myself as well. I mean, they have really pushed us through COVID. They really have.
Yeah.
But then the question is, why are they leaving? And then when you look at the reasons why, it's actually very similar to the reasons why these Irish nurses left and ended up setting up or helping set up the NHS. So they're leaving for better working conditions, for better nurse to patient ratio, better pay, better, like less taxes, less cost of living. You know, it's the exact same things really that they're leaving for. So it's mad to think that those things haven't changed.
None of it's changed. But like, and look, that's a much broader conversation then as well, in terms of like, there's so many people in so many industries who are having to leave, being forced to leave. Like,
well, teachers are the same as well.
Like, it's been loads of industries. Like, I mean, we have it at the moment with like, you know, my sister and her boyfriend, in that they have saved up a deposit for a house. They can't afford the house.
They keep getting outbid. So it's just like, we need something else to do in the meantime.
They just were like, do you know what? Like, let's
get a life experience in. Yeah.
So they're living in Vietnam now for a couple of years. And like, you're kind of looking at going, well, why the hell would you not do that? Because it is crazy out there. Like,
but anyway, I just found it very interesting the reasons why these nurses back in the 1960s and 1970s, 1950s even, were leaving and going across the water is really the same as why they're still leaving now.
Well, yup, the nurses.
There you go.
And you know what? Like, there's just before we finish, I think there's a lot of industries in this country. I think we do a lot right in this country, and I'm like so proud to be Irish. But I think there's a lot of people who get really underappreciated, and there's a lot of jobs that get really underappreciated. And I don't know whether COVID may have highlighted some of them. Obviously, healthcare workers.
Yeah.
But like loads of other industries that like farming, people don't understand, and I don't think we appreciate the amount of just absolute dedication that goes into that. That's just one example.
That's 365 days a year.
It's your life. You know what I mean? And it's not like you're earning an absolute fortune. That is just literally a calling, to do a job like that. So many of those jobs around the country. I'm sure some of you listen now do them.
Yes.
And I think we need to do a better job at appreciating people in all sorts of industries.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, Carl, so let's get out of my rabbit hole, and what are you bringing in for mulling it over this week?
All right, so I was having a thought during the week just about, I have this thought all the time. I'm really bad at getting back to messages, right?
Yes.
I'm really bad.
You are bad, even to mine, yeah.
And it frustrates me, but I heard a few people talking about it during the week as well, just about being overwhelmed with the amount of messages and how contactable they are. And I was like, right, that's what I want to chat about this week, because I'm sure there's loads of you who have the same experience where you're just completely overwhelmed with the amount of messages that can come into you at any given time, but then not knowing how to get back to them and having this like paralysis when it comes to it.
Yes.
That's what happens to me. Like, people message me all the time. I'm constantly in a state of, like, currently I have 72 unread chats on WhatsApp. Now, that's not the worst, but like the 72 unread messages. Now, I guarantee you the vast majority of those are actually, every single one of those is a message I've actually read, but then but then swiped across to make it unread. I don't have my blue ticks turned on.
Oh, right.
Because I don't want people to know when I've read their messages, and then for me to feel like there's an onus on me to get back to them ASAP, because that happens.
Yes.
This kind of like idea that because it's convenient for another person to text me, that it's convenient for me to text them back straight away.
But you know what I just say to that?
Go on.
What did we do in the times where there were no phones? So if someone's at you for not getting back to a message, be like, what did we do at the times that there were no phones? You would just wait until I arrived. If we used to drive down to Wexford, or if we were making that journey to Donegal again, right, when there's no phones, right?
Yeah, you just have to wait until you arrive.
Off you go.
Yeah.
If we were driving down to Wexford, you'd ring on the landline and say, I'll be down to you tomorrow at some point. We'll leave at this time. So we'd know, right, probably about a 2-hour journey, because the roads at that stage were 2 hours. So 2 to 2.5 hour journey. Okay, so we're expecting them down about 12:30 in the day.
Yeah. No,
as opposed to texting being like, I'm nearly there 5 minutes away.
Ash.
Like, this is where I'm like, we don't need the constant flicker of a phone at you.
Yes, which is where I'm like, I swear to God, I'm getting to the point where I'm like, do I ditch WhatsApp? Honestly.
How would I contact you then?
Ring me.
You don't answer your phone.
Or else text me, like as in, I don't know, I just find, for me, right, where it gets overwhelming is, okay, you've got WhatsApp.
Yes.
You've got like one-to-one WhatsApp messages. Then you've got groups.
The groups.
So then the groups could pop off and you could be in the middle of doing something else. And by the time you have time to pick up your phone, you're 300 messages behind everyone else.
Yes.
Then you've got Instagram DMs.
Yes.
Then you've got emails. You got text messages. You've got phone calls. I'm sure there's loads of other ways that people can contact. Like, it's just an onslaught the whole time. So I was like, right, I need to look into this as to like, why do I feel so affected by this? Because I don't feel you're as bothered with it.
No, WhatsApp?
No, just in general. Like, as in, I don't think you're as bothered with the overwhelm of the contact, if that makes sense. Because, okay, put it like this.
Well, I kind of keep my circle small. So I kind of like, my people that I know that I need to get back to, I do get back to.
Oh, you're really good.
Yeah.
You're like, you and like your friends.
I have friends that I would talk to every day, and the same group of friends that I would talk to every day. We have a group of like 2 particular friends that we meet every week.
Yeah.
And we know as it gets towards the end of the week, the messages in that group will be hopping off because we're like, right. But then there's enough of us. There's enough of us in that group that like I'm connected with you. So if they say something and I know you're busy, I can answer for you. It's when you're singularly in a group that there's not someone else that can kind of answer for you.
It's bad enough with me that you could literally say to me right now, make sure you text that person such and it's their birthday tomorrow, for example. And I'll go, grand. And this is where the paralysis kicks in. I can't bring myself to do it.
So that's an overwhelming feeling.
So
it's a bit of anxiety there as well.
Well, I did. I actually looked into it, right?
Go on, yeah.
Because I'll always find an excuse to put it off.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So I did look into it, and mental load is a huge part of it. So even short texts can feel like another to-do when your brain's already juggling a lot. And it's not to say that like all of us are juggling a lot. It's just some of us are better at coping with it than others. Perfectionism. You might wait until you have the right words or enough time to give a thoughtful reply, which leads to putting it off. That's a huge one for me.
That is a huge one for you.
When I come back to, I'm thinking about tone. How is it going to be perceived? If I say it this way, does that come across as abrupt? You know.
So I would be quite abrupt in my text.
Is that right?
Yeah, no, you know I am.
I know you are.
Whereas sometimes if I have to write something, I have to say to you, Carl, how does that sound? Or like I'd come to you, like today, for example, I was texting your man from the gym, and then I was like, Carl, I'll let you screen that for me. And you're like, oh yeah, okay.
I kind of reworded it then.
Yes, yeah. But prime example,
Ash's text is like, me want gym, how much? That's how you go.
I'm just direct. Passionate. That's what I say in interviews. I'm just passionate and determined.
Husband fat, need gym.
Can't use that word anymore, Carl.
It's too much. Like for me,
a lot of it is tone. I think we're too considerate of how these texts sound, especially if there's arguments happening, which is why they say do not have arguments over. But also things get picked up so wrong in text messages and like that. So you would always try be like, is my tone okay? And my point is, I'm like, so what? Everyone is texting. If you want to have it out with somebody, have it out with somebody, but not by text.
I know, but the thing is, it's like not even when you're having it out with someone, it's that you could send something and it could be perceived wrong, which then therefore kicks it off.
And that's where you can turn around and say, actually, do you know what? Hands up. I'm sorry about that.
Well, other things that come into it when I looked into all of this, notification fatigue. Yes. Phones bombard us with pings all day and your brain learns to tune them out. That kind of happens.
Yeah.
Energy mismatch. Sometimes you get the message when you don't have the mental and emotional energy to respond. And by the time you do, it feels too late. That also happens to me. You're kind of embarrassed at how long it took to get it back to someone. So then therefore you put it off again. Time distortion. You might think, I'll reply in a minute, but hours or days slip by without realizing. That happens to me.
And that happens to me too.
All the time.
Yeah.
Then I looked into it in terms of like, is there anything you can do?
Okay.
If you're the type of person who has this issue, and there's a lot of people who get really overwhelmed when it comes to like messaging people. So set low stakes reply triggers. So try quick minimal responses like emojis that lower the pressure.
Yeah.
So literally giving something a thumbs up, reacting to something with a thumbs up. Now, personally, again, I think that comes across as like passive aggressive.
But I thought that did, right? And then I'm like, no, because you're showing that it's a reaction. So, for example, I think it was today, like I'd written a few texts, whatever, to a friend, and I got one reaction to like one of the messages, right? And I was like, oh, I wanted more out of, like more like a response. But I'm like, why do I want? So my response then to myself was like, why do I want more response to that? Like she responded to me.
Yeah.
So I think like, it's actually on the other person. It's the person that is receiving the emoji. As in, like, if they're not happy with that, well, then so be it.
But that's it. Everyone's expectations are just too high.
I checked myself in that situation. I was like, no, that's perfect.
But I think we all expect the same level of communication out of a text message or a WhatsApp as we do with a person, a face-to-face conversation. And I just think that's where we need to lower our expectations with it. The other bits of useful advice, use reminders or alarms. This actually I think would be a good one for me. When you read a message but can't reply right away, schedule a reminder to revisit it, or communicate your patterns is another one. Be transparent about your messaging habits to reduce misunderstanding. So I actually might just on my status on WhatsApp be like, I've probably read your message, but I'm really bad at getting back to them. So if it's important, ring me. Like, that's the truth of it. The other thing I was thinking about them myself, this wasn't part of the advice that was in the article. I was like, it's the app hopping. So going from WhatsApp to Instagram to your emails to whatever, the jumping around between them, that I just find exhausting. So I was like, is there an app that exists that will just consolidate all of that communication?
All the notifications in one as such?
Yes.
Yeah.
And like, why don't Apple and Google just create one on your phone that just consolidates everything?
Yes.
But there are third-party apps that will do this. I haven't used any of these, but I'll just give you a couple of the names. One of them is called Beeper.
Yes.
So it's kind of like, it'll just all your Instagram DMs, your WhatsApp messages, it'll put them all together in one place. There's a lot of them that are like desktop based as well. One is called Franz. You can use, anyway, look, you can look it up. There's loads of different apps you can use for consolidating kind of communications, which I think is going to be useful for me. And I actually think making it desktop based.
Okay. So be quite handy, while you're working away on the laptop.
So anyway, I don't know if any of the rest of you struggle with this, but it was a thought I had during the week. I was like, man, I'm this close to doing it, because Ed Sheeran did it. He deleted WhatsApp off his phone. He got rid of his phone.
Did he?
And he only gets back to his emails once a week.
There you go.
And I honestly think putting those kind of parameters is something I'm like, I can see why people do that. So I don't have an answer yet. But if there's anyone else feeling the same way,
you need to find a happy medium.
Just let me know. Actually,
you need to change your line of work, Carl.
Let me know, because I need to know that there's other people out there like me. Do you know what they need to do?
Email at howareyoulovey@gmail.com.
Another way to get in touch. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so come back to us next week. Thanks a million for listening this week. Don't forget to share, rate, review and subscribe.
Yes, and keep the emails coming into us. Brand new email address, howareyoulovey@gmail.com. Whatever you're up to, have a great week. Thanks for listening.
Bye.